Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. I'm your host, TheDividendAristocrat, and as you guys probably do know, SCHD stock did split on Friday, October 11th for a 3-for-1 split. Now, because of that stock split, it did mess up my spreadsheet quite a bit, and as you can see, my total return is down to 34.81%, where it was sitting at 45% just a little bit ago, and it should still actually be sitting at that same amount, but of course, that stock split did mess it up just a tiny bit. So I was going to go ahead and fix my spreadsheet, but I figured that I might as well show it on video in case any of you guys have the same problem, want to know how to fix it yourself. Now, I have been getting a decent amount of questions about my spreadsheet in particular, and I do plan on making a version available to everybody when I have the chance, but as of right now, it is not yet complete. The version you see on these videos is exclusive to me and unfortunately would not work for many other portfolios since I've catered to my exact portfolio. Now, before we get into showing you how to fix the spreadsheet, I figured I'd show you guys some quick information about SCHD post-stock split. As a reminder, this is not financial advice and I'm just merely sharing my opinions on this channel. So taking a look at Seeking Alpha, SCHD stock price is now sitting at $28.68, which is very low compared to the $85 it was sitting at before the stock split. But I do want to mention that it is actually currently sitting at a record high. Now, basically for the split, what happened is every single share of SCHD became 3 separate shares of SCHD, so they're currently worth only a third of the value they were before. But of course, if you owned 1 share of SCHD, it's now 3 shares instead. Now, what that means for you as an investor is that it might be easier to accumulate shares of SCHD going forward since you can actually buy whole share increments much easier now than before. But in terms of actual value, nothing has changed with the ETF. As we can see here, in the past year, it's up 21.42%, and more specifically in the year-to-date period, it's up 13%, which is pretty solid. Now, based on the prices here, we can see that all these different financial tracking websites have adjusted their price metrics backwards, so now 25.24 is how much it would have been worth in January 16th of 2024, but of course, before the stock split, it was worth closer to $75. Now, if you do use Seeking Alpha, you can take a look at their dividend history section, and right here, it will show you a little S symbol for a stock split, and there was a 3-for-1 stock split on the 11th of October. Also, in terms of dividends, nothing has changed as well. You can see here the regular amount that was being paid before the stock split, and now the adjusted amount post-stock split. All it is just a third of the value. Now, taking a look at the portfolio holdings section, we can see where my problem lies. My average price paid for this position was $71.08, but the current price is sitting much lower at $28.68. What that means to me is that my average price paid, of course, has not been adjusted for the stock split, and so it's still sitting at those original prices. In total, it's telling me that I purchased 58 shares and that I have 62.096 shares with DRIP. Now, in terms of percent change, you guys can see how ridiculous this is. It says I'm down 56.8%, and if this was true, this would by far be my worst performing position. Now, for my spreadsheet, the first portion that I do have to fix is my order history section, which we can see right here. Now, the most straightforward way to fix this is to find every single one of my SCHD purchases and multiply the quantity bought by 3. So what we can do right here is we can just put 30 instead, or if you want to be more technical, we can put an equal sign, we can keep the same amount that we had before, and then multiply it by 3. Now, as you can see, that did mess up the second section here, which is the total order. So we'd have to also do is change the price paid and divide that by 3 as well. So we go in here and put equal sign, and then we would put a divided by 3 in this case. It would be the exact opposite. So now the order is back to normal and it's actually showing the right numbers, but of course this can be a very time consuming method to do it, and if you have a lot of different shares and a lot of different purchases of SCHD, this would take quite some time. So let's return it back to normal here and we can go through a more efficient way of doing so. And if you guys do have better methods of doing this, definitely let me know down below. If you guys have noticed, I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to Excel and Google Sheets, and I always want to keep learning, especially if there's better methods to what I'm doing. Now, stock splits don't happen very often, but if you guys do manage to help me out in the comments down below, this will definitely help me for the next time I have a stock split for my portfolio. So what I went ahead and did, first of all, is I added a filter to this upper row right here. And what that lets me do is it lets me sort by SCHD. So I'm going to clear everything else and I'm going to place only SCHD in here. Now we can see all my purchases that I've ever made into this ETF, and we can easily continue from here. So the first part of what I want to fix is I'm going to fix the quantity. So I'm going to take the equal sign, I'm going to click on this cell right here, and I'm going to multiply by 3. You see how that gives me 30 in a much quicker fashion. And now the real benefit of this is I'm able to just copy paste this all the way down. So I can grab this edge right here and I can paste it all the way down to there. Next, what I do is I'd copy this. And instead of just pasting normally, because that will affect your values, what you want to do is you want to go into edit up here, paste special, and then put values only, or of course you can press Ctrl-Shift-V. So now we've saved a lot of time on that, and the only other thing we have to do is fix it for the price. So what I'll do next is I'll delete all these. And then going back into this first cell, we'll put equal sign, and we'll put the price, and the price has to actually be divided by 3. It has to be an inverse of the quantity that we purchased. Dragging this all the way down gives us the same result, and then we can just copy this and we can paste it with Control-Shift-V. Now the values here did change because they're referencing this cell, but that doesn't matter because we have the correct values over here. Now after we're done, what we can do is clear the filters and then everything will populate back to normal. Now depending on how your spreadsheet is structured, you may have to complete the same process for the dividend history or your dividend order section, especially if you're reinvesting those dividends. So I'm just going to go through that same process one more time, and I'll do it on video in case you guys want to follow along. But the first thing we have to do is clear all the different selections we have here and filter out by only SCHD. Then we want to take these quantities over here and we want to set the equal sign, grab that quantity and multiply it by 3. The next step is to pull this all the way down and then copy this over and paste it using Control-Shift-V or paste it by putting values only. Now in my case, it did fix everything properly, and that's because the price is the last thing I calculated. I first put my quantity, then I put my total order, the total amount of dividends I received, and then I backtrack in order to calculate how much the price was per share. So going back into my portfolio holdings section, we can see that it's fixed itself pretty nicely. My average price paid is now $23.69. The current price is at $28.68, which is a 52-week high, and the amount of shares purchased were 174. Now in terms of shares with drip, I'm currently sitting at 186, which is a very nice and high number to see, and my percent gain is actually at 30%, which is pretty solid. And like I mentioned earlier, I am working to make this spreadsheet available in the near future, so just bear with me a little bit longer and hopefully I'll have it to you guys very, very soon. As always, that does bring us to the end of today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it useful. Hopefully you can incorporate into your own spreadsheets. I did try to keep this one as brief as possible since it's a middle of the week upload and just wanted to walk you guys through what I was doing for my own individual spreadsheet. If you guys did find this useful and made it this far into the video, I would definitely appreciate if you could leave me a like. It helps me out a ton. If you haven't yet watched my most recent video where I talk about my dividend income for the month of September, check it out right here. And if you want to see my most recent sell my portfolio, check out this video right here. Remember, the best time to invest was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.